Hello everyone, it's Lisa from Mythical Witchery. Welcome back to my channel. Well, as usual here in England, it is raining cats and dogs, so I thought it would be a really good time to have a look at some cat and dog decks. So let's get started. First up is the Wise Dog Tarot by MJ Cullinan. This is a mass market version published by US Games in 2020, but this was previously indie, published by MJ herself. I paid £21 for this. So it comes in this sturdy two-piece box. Let's look at the back. And when you open it up, there's the guidebook and the cards and the inside of the box. So these are the backs of the cards. And I'm pretty sure these are not in order, but you'll get a good idea of what these cards look like anyway. It's really beautiful artwork, very distinctive. I think you can tell at a glance that this is MJ's work. Just a really lovely deck with a gentle energy. I really love it. It's a great deck. It's a lot of fun to work with. The cardstock is a little bit thick, but not too bad. It's pretty flexible. It's a good shuffle. And comparing it to a standard Rider-Waite Smith, that is the size. So it's a little bit bigger. The guidebook. It's not a very thick guidebook. It has a little bit of information on each card with keywords. There's no pictures in here. And at the back, there's some ideas for spreads, 3-card readings, basic symbolism, and a thank you to all the dogs who inspired her, which I think is lovely. So that is the guidebook. As far as the shuffle goes, I don't do a full riffle shuffle because of my arthritis, but still, this shuffles quite well. They're a little bit slippery, but not too bad. They have what I would say is a semi-gloss. You see just a bit of reflection there if the light is shining right on it. So that is the Wise Dog Tarot. Next up is the Magical Dogs Tarot. And this is created by Mickey and Daniel Mueller, published by Llewellyn in 2018. I paid £32 for it. It's listed on the box as $32 US. So this is one of their typical box sets with the magnetic opening. This is the guidebook. It's quite a big guidebook. Got a little ribbon. These are the backs of the cards. And that's the inside of the box. It's really cute. So the guidebook is a good size. with lots of information. It's got a picture of the card and then a good size write-up, about 1.5 pages, including keywords and reversed meanings. And it's that way throughout the book. Gives some spreads at the back. Some really cute spreads. Look at that, the paw print spread. The Guardian spread. The Hunt. So let's look at the cards. So these are pretty standard. They're a little bit wider than a standard tarot card and a little bit shorter, as you can see. And these are the cards themselves. The suits are renamed in this deck. Sky, Sea, Earth, and Fire. This is a really, really sweet deck. I love the imagery in this deck. It's so happy, and it makes me happy. I love working with it. It is a lot of fun. The cards are glossy. You can see that reflection of the light. They're very typical Llewellyn cardstock. They've got a good bounce. And as typical with most Llewellyn decks, a really good shuffle. Even I can do a riffle shuffle with these cards most of the time. Overhand, a little slippery, but not bad at all. So that is the Magical Dogs. I wish I had more dog decks to show you, but I don't. It's really strange to me that there are so few good dog decks available. There are a few indie decks around, but they are either too expensive or they just really didn't appeal to me. I wish that there was a dog oracle deck that was really good. Again, I've seen a couple, but not too crazy about them. So if anyone knows of any that are good, fairly easy to find and not too crazy expensive, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about them. So moving on now to my cat decks. And I have a lot more of these than I do of the dog decks. So starting with the Black Cats Tarot. For those of you who have the White Cats Tarot, it's going to be very similar to that. This is by Maria Carrara. This is published by Lo Scarabeo in 2013, and I paid £21 for this. So it's in a standard tuck box. It comes with a pretty standard little white book. And as typical with Lo Scarabeo decks, this is in 4 languages. English, Italian, actually no, in this case, is 6 languages. English, Italian, Spanish, French, German, and Portuguese. With a tiny, tiny write-up on each card. So with this deck, you really need to be at least somewhat familiar with the tarot or have a good guidebook that you can access, because there's not a lot in here unless you're going strictly by intuition. So these are the backs. I really love the backs on this deck, and of course fully reversible. The cardstock on this, very similar in size to a standard tarot card. It's about the same height, perhaps a little narrower. It's fairly thin cardstock, and it has, I'd say, a semi-gloss. Maybe leaning towards gloss. Quite flexible though. Let's have a look at some of the cards. So what you'll find in this deck is that the cats are acting very much like humans. They sit like humans, they stand like humans, they walk like humans, which I find a little hello, Jelly Bean. Speaking of cats, of course, he came to visit. Which I find that to be just a little distracting. Not Jelly Bean. Well, he can be distracting too. But the fact that the cats in this deck they just look like humans. Humans in fur. That's going to appeal to some people and not appeal to others. Sorry that so many of these are upside down. It is a cute deck, and it's fun to work with. I paid a lot more for this than I think it's actually worth. It's just that it's perhaps a little bit more difficult to get a hold of these days, and that's probably why it cost as much as it did. Might be a little easier to get hold of in America, I'm not sure. So that is the Black Cats Tarot. Next up, we have the Cat Tarot, and this is by Megan Lincott. This was published by Chronicle Books. I paid £18 for this, and it is listed, I'm sorry, I actually didn't pay £18 for this. This was a gift from my daughter, but it is listed on the box as £18 and $20 US. I love this deck. This is one of my favorite decks. Look at that little cat hiding in there. And it's the same on this side. Some nice spot UV on there. Rainbow. Reflective. And this was published in 2019. Let's have a look inside. So that's the inside of the box. That's the guidebook. So again, it's not a huge book, but it has a full picture of the cards and a little write-up with upright and reversed meanings for all of the cards. When it gets into the minor arcana, there's a little bit less information on the page, or at least it looks like it's less because they've just made it all smaller. So the pictures are smaller and so on. So instead of 1 per page, you'll get about 2 per page. But it's good information. and more than enough that you wouldn't have to consult a guidebook unless you felt like it. There are spreads at the front, single card, 3 card, 5 card called the paw, Celtic cross called the loaf, which I think is funny, the horseshoe or the cat stretch, the mandala or the belly rub, the tree of life, so let's look at the cards. So these are the backs. They're a semi-gloss to a gloss. Hello again. Comparing this to standard tarot, it is very close in size, just slightly taller. I'm looking at the individual cards. This is one of my favorite decks. This is the deck that just makes me giggle every time I use it. Just because there are certain cards in here that are so funny. But it's also very typical cat behavior in this deck. This is not a deck where you see the cats acting like humans. These cats are very much cats. And I love that. And if that is something that appeals to you, then you will probably like this. Look at this. The devil. Because of course it is. Oh, it's brilliant. And that's the tower. Another great card. Yeah. Just an excellent deck. And so much fun. Look at that Ace of Cups. Yeah. So if you want a cat deck that is going to make you smile, this is definitely the deck for you. It is great and so much fun. Look at that. Oh gosh. What a fantastic deck this is. Oh, look at that hermit. Isn't that great? So that is the Cat Tarot. For shuffle, these cards are, they're not too stiff. They're not, I wouldn't call these thin cards. They're pretty good. It shuffles fairly well, slightly slippery. But not too bad. I'm going to embarrass myself with my riffle shuffle, but may as well. My arthritis isn't too bad today. Overhead shuffle. The Fool. Little undignified for a Siamese, but actually that might not be a Siamese. It might be, I can't remember what that other breed that looks like that, but this doesn't quite look like a Siamese to me, even though it is got the points. So that is the Cat Tarot. Next up, we have the only Oracle deck in my collection that is cats or dogs, and this is the Fantasy Cats Oracle by Paolo Barbieri. This was published by Lo Scarabeo in 2019. I believe this is now distributed in North America by Llewellyn. They are I think, the sole distributor for Lo Scarabeo products in North America. I paid £18 for this. This is a small deck. If you do not want to pay this kind of money for very few cards, 23 cards, you might want to avoid this deck. However, if you don't mind, it is a lovely deck. It has a 2-piece box, sturdy box. That's the guidebook. And the cards, that's the inside of the box. So the guidebook, again, as typical with a low scarabeo, is printed in several languages. In this case, it's 6 languages. And in this case, we have English, Italian, Spanish, French, Portuguese, and I'm not sure if that's Russian, but it could be. So this deck is divided into 3 sections. There are the season cards, which are spring, summer, autumn, and winter. There are the attitude cards. There's 4 of those, and those reveal how to take action. And then there are 15 normal cards. So it's when is the season, how are the attitude cards, and what are the normal vertical cards. And they reveal what to do and how to be. So there's the 3-card draw, 4-card draw, talks a little bit about summer, fall, spring and winter, then the attitudes, and in this case it's desiring intimacy, desiring balance, desiring belonging, desiring transformation, and then explanations of the cards themselves in all of those languages. So these are the cards. Each of the 4 sections have slightly different backs. So these are the seasons. These next 4 are the attitude, and you can tell they're just a slightly different color. These are a very high gloss, by the way. And then these ones are make up the bulk of the deck, the 15 cards. So let's look at these individually. So these are the attitude cards. Desiring balance, desiring intimacy, desiring transformation, and desiring belonging. Then the season cards, spring, summer, fall, and winter. And then the normal cards. They are really, really beautiful. I love this. Oh, I love that card. I don't think you can go wrong with this deck. It reads very well. It's a fun deck. It's a beautiful deck. I like it, and I do recommend it. It is very small, as you can see. 23 cards is just not that many. Comparing them to a standard Rider-Waite Smith, they are quite a bit bigger. Pretty standard for an Oracle deck, though. For shuffle, they're not a terribly thick card. They've got fairly good bounce. There's not too many of them, so they're going to shuffle pretty well. What have you got? Something icky. You had something icky in your mouth. They shuffle pretty well. Because they're fairly slippery, they make overhand shuffling maybe a little bit more challenging, but actually not too bad at all. I don't find them difficult anyway. So that is the Fantasy Cats Oracle. Next up, we have another deck from MJ Cullinan, and this is the Grimalkin's Curious Cats Tarot. This is an 80-card tarot deck and guidebook. This was previously published independently and has been picked up in the mass market by Hay House in 2023. I paid £20 for this. It's listed on the box as $30 US or 40 Canadian dollars. It's a 2-piece box. You can see it is a thick box. That's the inside. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. Really love that. This is the guidebook, and it's a big chunky book. It has loads of information in it. Absolutely loads. She's got a number of spreads at the beginning. Single card, yes, no, maybes, with all the cards listed. There's the meow spread, motivation, external influences, obstacle, and wisdom. Questions that you can ask the cards. And then, of course, descriptions of each one of the cards here. So it is a useful book, a big book, nice and chunky. That is the inside of the box. Absolutely stunning. Just really beautiful. Comparing to a standard Rider-Waite-Smith, these are huge cards. They're closer in size to an Oracle deck. You don't like big cards, you might not like this deck. However, those are the backs, by the way. This is, I would say these are matte cards, but they've got just a tiny gloss on them. So semi-gloss. Let's have a look at these. Gorgeous Empress card. Oh my goodness. Again, very distinctive art style. I think instantly recognizable as MJ's work. There's Grimalkin. And I think Grimalkin is actually named after one of her cats. I could be wrong. I have to look it up in the book because I'm sure she says something about that here. Whoops. Apparently they're a little slippery. And it is a chunky duck. Oh my gosh, those look like jelly beans. Oh. He would be so happy. I think he's a little mad at me right now. Because I wouldn't give him the attention he wanted when he jumped up here. And as you can see, just a beautiful, beautiful deck. Gorgeous oriental short hair. Okay, so for shuffling, this is one I will struggle with because it is such a big, big, chunky deck. But there are always ways to get around that. You can shuffle it sideways. You could, yeah, see, it's definitely a struggle for me to shuffle, but overhand, even overhand, it's such a thick, thick deck. But like I said, there are always ways you could shuffle it sideways if that's easier. My thumbs do not want to work today, apparently. So I'm not going to embarrass myself any further than I already have by attempting to shuffle this. Anyway, that is Grimalkin's Curious Cats. Beautiful, beautiful deck, and I highly recommend it. I'm planning to do a full flip through of this in the near future. If you'd like to see that, pop a comment down below. So moving on. So next up, we have the Mystical Cats Tarot. This is by Linnea, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Weatherstone, with art by Nikki Mueller. Hello, Bean. He wants to get in and say hello. We've got to check it out. Yeah. So this is published by Llewellyn in 2014. I paid £28 for this and is listed on the box as $32 US. This is a typical Llewellyn magnetic closure box. That's the backs. That's the guidebook. Nice big guidebook. You having a look? Are you having a look, buddy? So we'll look at this guidebook quickly. So it's a nice big guidebook. It is not in color, but has a picture of each of the cards with a write-up and reverse meanings as well. Explains some of the cards that have been renamed. And just look in the back here, see if there are some spreads. I thought there were spreads in this, but I'm not seeing any. Some of Mickey's artwork though, which is quite cool. Yep, there are spreads in the back. Where are they here? Ah, okay, here we go. So 2 card at the threshold, 3 card spread. Oh, you want that ribbon, do you? A 5 card, a 9 card, and this is the Bean, and he's got the ribbon. He loves that ribbon. The card stuck in there. So that is the inside of the box. These are the backs. Fully reversible. Comparing to a standard Rider-Waite-Smith, you can see that they are ever so slightly wider and just very slightly shorter. And these are the cards. And this is another really beautiful deck. And again, it's cats acting like cats. Mostly. You know, not acting like humans. So this will definitely appeal to you if you don't like that, the idea of cats being personified. Really lovely deck. So again, the suits in this are renamed. So wands are a suit of fire, cups are sea, swords are sky, and pentacles are earth. Oh, look at that. So for shuffling, these are pretty standard Llewellyn. They've got a good bounce on them. They're not too thick and not terribly thin. It's going to be a little easier to shuffle, I think, than that big thick deck. And they are. If I can do a riffle shuffle with these, anyone can do a riffle shuffle with these. So, beautiful shuffle. And they are a fairly glossy card and relatively slippery. So that's another beautiful deck. That is the Mystical Cats Tarot. Moving on to our final deck of the day. And this is the Soul Cats Tarot by Lisa Robertson with art by Adam Ohlers. And some of you may be familiar with Adam's work. He's actually doing decks for Three Trees Tarot in the UK at the moment. Oak, Ash and Thorn, Smoke, Ash and Embers, and the upcoming Thistledown Oracle, which is highly anticipated and absolutely beautiful. So this is a deck published by Llewellyn in 2022. I paid £30 for it, and it is listed on the box for $31.99. This is a very standard Llewellyn magnetic closure. It's a really beautiful box. Guidebook. It's the inside. So big guidebook, full color. I love this. I love these books that Llewellyn puts out that are big, full color guidebooks. This has several spreads, quick pounce. I thought it had several spreads. Has one. The quick pounce. So it shows a full color version of the card. It has the guidance. It doesn't show reversed meanings. So if you're looking for reversals, you may need to consult another guidebook. But it is a really beautiful guidebook. So the cards. These are the backs. Really beautiful. And fully reversible, as you can see. Comparing this to a standard Rider-Waite-Smith, you're going to find that they are very slightly wider and just slightly shorter. This is another one of those decks that I really love. It is so beautiful and has such gentle energy. And the cats are acting like cats. They're not little humans in a cat suit. As you can see, quite a glossy stock. Beautiful energy from this deck. I love it. And it has a fairly limited color palette as well. And that doesn't bother me at all. It's very, I think it's, all the cards are quite cohesive. They, you know, if you drop this on the floor with another deck, you wouldn't have any trouble separating it. They're really beautiful. So for a shuffle, I'm sure we're going to find that this is very standard Llewellyn kind of shuffle. The cards are pretty standard Llewellyn stock. They've got a decent bounce. They're not too thin. They're not thick. And even I should be able to riffle shuffle this. Yeah. So it's got a good shuffle. A lot of people are really down on Llewellyn cardstock, but I like it because, I mean, if I can riffle shuffle it, that makes me happy. And they seem to hold up fairly well as well. A little slippery, as you can see. Not too bad, though, when you get used to it. So, that is the Soul Cats Tarot. So thank you for joining me today for this quick look at all of these cat and dog decks. It is no longer raining outside. The sun is actually poking through the clouds, which is lovely to see. I appreciate you joining me today. If you have any thoughts or opinions on any of these decks, please pop them down in the comments below. If you found this video useful at all, please give it a like. That helps my channel to grow. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be notified of any videos that I upload in the future. Thank you again, and have a lovely day. Bye for now. Bye-bye.